Hey there, this is Workbench from Workbench Quagmire. Welcome to day, I'm not sure what, of the 100-ish days of the FreeCodeCamp Python certification. So I'll have to make sure I know the number for the next video. So today we're working with modules. So what is a module? What is the standard library? And how do we import modules? I have here a little online interactive interpreter provided to us by Python Morsels. The person behind this is a great guy. Lots of online content. So in software development, a library is like a toolbox for developers. Instead of having to implement every single part of the code for yourself from scratch, libraries give you pre-written reusable code like functions, classes, and data structures that you can use in your project. Python has an extensive library with many different built-in modules. They're all standardized, well-vetted solutions for many of the problems and tasks you'll face daily as a programmer, such as interfacing with the operating system, working with files, networking, working with date and time, performing mathematical operations, using regular expressions, testing and debugging your code, and much more. So some of the popular built-in modules are math, random, RE, which is short for regular expressions, and date time. Good old date time. The math module has helpful functions for performing more complex mathematical operations. Random module is helpful when generating random numbers. The regular expression module is used for working with regular expressions, and the datetime module is helpful when working with dates and times in Python. But how can you access the variables, constants, functions, and classes defined in each of these built-in modules? You use an import statement. These statements let you import modules into your Python script. Import statements are generally written in the top of the file. You can also customize them based on your needs. First, you use the import statement followed by the name of the module. So import module name. Let's say you want to import math module. In this case, you would write this is the top of your file, import math. Then if you need to call a method from the module in your Python script, you would use dot notation with the name of the module followed by the name of the method. So module name, method name. For example, the square root of 36, you could write math followed by dot and then square root, an abbreviation for square root, and use within the parentheses, you would pass any necessary arguments. In this case, we only need to pass the number we want the square root of. So math.square root 36. It's the most basic version of an import statement, but there are other alternatives. If you need to import the module with a different name, also known as alias, you can use the syntax as, followed by the alias at the end of the import statement. So import module name as module alias. This is often used to shorten long module names or to avoid naming conflicts. For example, to refer to the math module as M in your code, you can assign an alias to it like this. Import math as M. Then you can access the elements of the module using the alias m.square root 36. But sometimes you don't need to import everything from the module. Perhaps you only need one or two specific functions or classes. Python has exactly what you need in this case. Now the import statement starts with from, followed by the name of the module, and then the import keyword, followed by the name of the elements you want to import. So from module name, import name 1, name 2. Then you can use these names without the module prefix in your Python script. If you want to assign aliases to these names, you can do that by using the as keyword after each, followed by the alias you want to use. So from module name, import name 1 as alias 1, name 2 is alias 2. Let's say that you only want to import radians, sine, and cosine function from math module. You would write from math import radians, sine, and cosine. Now, you can call these functions directly in your code without the math module as a prefix. Here we have a more detailed example. To find the sine and cosine of a specific angle initially expressed in degrees, we can call the radians function to convert it to radians, and then call the sine and cosine function passing the angle in radians. So from math, import radians, sine, and cosine. Our angle is 40 degrees. Angle radians equals radians angle degrees, and then sine value equals sine angle radians and cosine angle radians. And then we can print those values. Notice how we are calling the functions directly without the name of the module prefix. This is because we imported the function with the alternative syntax. This is helpful, but it can result in naming conflicts if you already have a function or variable with the same name defined in the Python script itself. So that's something to keep in mind when you're choosing which type of import statement you want to use. And finally, we find this import statement that ends with an asterisk. The asterisk tells Python that you want to import everything in that module, but you want to import it so that you don't need to use the name of the module as a prefix. So module name import asterisk, basically everything. For example, if you do this while importing math module, you'll be able to call any function defined in the module without specifying the name of the module as a prefix. Here's an example. So math import everything, print the square root of 36, print the power 5 to 2, 5 to the second power is 25, print the exponent of 1, or exponential 1, whatever, 2.178. However, this is generally discouraged because it can lead to namespace collisions and make it harder to know where certain names are coming from. Import statements work exactly the same for functions, classes, constants, variables, and any other elements defined within the module. Here's an example of a constant in the math module. Pi, import math, math.pi. There's an example of a class from the datetime module. We can create date objects representing July 15th, 1959. Then we assign that date object to a variable and access the day, month, and year individually using dot notation. So we import date notation. Birthday equals date time, date 1959, July 15th. Print birthday day 15, birthday month 7, birthday year 1959. You can find more information about the content of a module in the official Python documentation for the module. Great. Now that you know more about modules, you should also know about this very important idiom in Python scripts because they're closely related. So the code, if name, so the name of the the special is a special built-in variable. So it's basically like, hey, if you're running this as the main file, main, run this code. When Python file is executed directly, Python sets the value of this variable to the string main. So if you go to the command line, you type in Python, my program, the name, if you were to print that, would be my program. Or my program would have the name main. But if the Python file is imported as a module into another Python script, the value of the name variable is set to the name of the module. So in that case, the name would be my program. Usually the file name without the .py extension. This is why you'll often see this conditional on Python scripts. It contains the code that you want to run only if the Python script is run as the main program. But if a script is imported as a module, the code within the block doesn't run. This is helpful because it allows Python scripts to have two purposes. You could run directly, or you could execute them in the main logic, executing the main logic, or you can import into another module without executing their main logic. So, which of the following statements best describes the Python standard library? Collection of pre-written modules and packages included with Python. Collection of third-party libraries. Nope, not third-party. it is the core syntax of the Python language itself. That's not true. It consists of external libraries written in other programming languages. No. Option 1. Which of the following is the correct syntax to import an entire datetime module and give it a short alias DT? Import datetime. There's no alias. From datetime, import date as DT. That's giving the alias to date. Import datetime as DT. The third choice is the correct one. And then finally, from datetime, import DT. That would be importing the DT function or whatever. So, choice 3. If you only want to use the mean function from the statistics module directly in your code without prefixing with statistics, which import statement would you use? Import statistics, that's the whole thing. From statistics, import mean, that would do it. Import mean from statistics, that's backwards. The from starts when you're importing a portion of a module. From statistics, import, and that would import everything. So from statistics, import mean, and working with modules is complete. So if you don't know, there are online Python REPLs that you can go practice, whatever you want to practice. So we could, do for loops and create functions and all kinds of stuff. So you can create a function called I and return hello. And then we could call that I. There we go. You can also go in here and import, like I was saying, math. One of the things you can do once you import something, if you want to see everything that's included with math, is type dir math and hit enter. And here we have all of the methods and constants and whatnot. So of the math module. So we've imported this, so we can start typing some of these, like math name. What is the name of the math module? It's math. We can see the documentation string for the module. So that's the string that's generally at the top of every module. This tells you what it does. It provides access to mathematical functions, and then this /n means it would be on a new line, defined by the C standard. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. I think the other thing that's pretty helpful, pun intended, is help. So this gives you basically like a help screen for the module. So it tells you the name, description. We saw here are all the functions with the description. So that is pretty cool. You can go through all that, but then you can also do it just for math, not half. .tan. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to do help. So if you wanted to know what the tangent function or what .tan was in the math module, it will tell you just the string, the help string for that. So, but you see, you can also do this and get everything that's available here. So, for example, I think if you type math tan doc, it gives us the document string that we can see here above right there. So help and dir are very useful if you're like, what are the things I can do with this module? It's also for classes and all kinds of stuff. So if you're like, man, I don't know anything about this, try those two functions to get to know the thing you're working with. So that is it for today. So we have completed what is this Python standard library and how do you import modules. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you tomorrow with a new video on the Free Code Camp Python certification.